Well, good day or good evening, kids. How is everybody doing? I hope you're all doing all right. I'm trying something a little different. I'm using a different type of restreamer, which I'm not sure if it's active right now. Yes, it appears active on YouTube. So hello to everybody on YouTube. I'm not sure if I am live on Rumble. Hmm. Interesting, but we'll figure this out as we go along. Things have changed in the streaming back end of everything. Platform I stream on has changed, so there's been updates. But in the meantime, hello everybody. Welcome to the Abyss. I am, of course, your host, the Eternal Abyss. How is everybody doing? I want to say hello to everybody on the other platforms that I'm on. Of course, I want to say hello to people on YouTube, and I want to say hello to people on Rumble, which I'm not sure if I'm actually streaming on there right now. We're going to try and get that up and running. I'm going to send a message here. So we'll figure that out in a moment here. And of course, I want to say hello to everybody on Realms, which is the main platform I am on. It allows me to say pretty much anything I want. So, nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not. It's been a while since the last stream. There's been a lot going on with me. I there's always a lot going on with me. I don't want to get into all that, but I'm not sure about a few things. Wait, let me see what's going on with the chat. It's not scrolling up. Why is that not scrolling? I should be scrolling. There we go. Well, I mean, I see it scroll. Oh, there we go. Yeah, now it's moving. All right. Okay. Well, so far, let's just leave it at that. If I can't stream on Rumble this time, so be it. I'm not gonna mess around with the stream now that it's up and running. So we'll have to check that out and test it out. So we'll work on that later. But I haven't been able to stream because of just a lot of stuff happening with personal life, real life, business, things like that, family. So it's not easy for me to have a consistent schedule right now where I can actually sit down and stream and do shit. Unfortunately, uh, so I don't know when things are going to settle, if they are going to settle at all. I'm trying to rearrange things in a way where maybe I'm going to start backing off on a lot of stuff and just having stuff take care of itself more than me being involved in everything. But I know I'm being purposely vague here. I don't want to talk about myself personally. I don't want to get into all that. Not really my interest at this point, So, as always, before I'm going to dive into everything, I already greeted the other platforms, but I do want to say if you support this, what I do, and Lord knows, I can use all the support I can get. You only tested on D Live. Yes, I'm alive. I am alive. By most definitions. Yeah, chat doesn't seem to be flowing very well for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. It goes through the animation once, and then it stops. I'm not really sure why it's doing that. Um, I'm not even sure what settings I can use. That's my life, man. That is the definition of my life. Nothing but problems. you you nailed it right on the head. Nothing but problems, sir. But anyways, I want to welcome everybody. We're going to talk a little bit about what's been going on. There's been a lot that's been going on, but problems. I don't have too many of those. I will thank the Lord for that. Not too many but problems, but general non-rear end problems, yes. A lot of my problems are a pain in my ass, though, so there is that. So there is a connection, um, one way or the other. You know. But I mean, where to begin when it comes to the news cycle? I mean, we're gonna talk a little bit about news, meat, and potato stuff like we always do. We're gonna pause maybe and then go through the epic of Gargamel as we were supposed to conclude that. I have not forgotten. And then we are going to. I know it's Gilgamesh. I'm playing around, but we're gonna try to read through the epic of Gilgamesh as we did. I'm trying to bring some culture to online streams and political talk. You heathen, you uncultured swine. But there's a lot to talk about, obviously. There's always so much to talk about. Right now, obviously, Super Bowl is on everybody's mouth and mind, and everybody's talking about Bad Bunny, and everybody's talking about the TPUSA's counter halftime show with Kid Rock, and I didn't watch either of them, to be honest with you. I did not choose one over the other because I don't watch men grab each other and tackle each other in tight spandex. It's not what I would define as entertainment for myself. A little bit too homoerotic for my taste, frankly. That's just me. You know. Plus, the NFL as an organization is pretty much a festering, steaming pile of crap. A lot of crap. Yeah, exactly, DoomTube. That's pretty like when I watch football. That's pretty much what I'm looking at. It's just that. Damn it! I don't know why the chat here is not. Let me take a look at the settings. Am I doing something wrong? No, I don't want audio. Hold on. Capture method. Let's try and change the settings. Oh, well, that really did not help, did it? There we go. That shouldn't even be showing up while I'm messing around with these things. Like, even OBS is pissing me off. Jesus Christ. Well, I have it on. I had it on auto. The capture method was automatic, and then if I go to the Windows 7, as you see, it all went gray. It all went, stupid. And if I do Windows 10 and up, like Windows 10 mode, it shows it, but I'm not seeing it refresh properly here. And I have Client Area Force SDR clicked on in OBS. And my phone is ringing. 1 second. Let me take care of something here. Great timing. There we go. I was supposed to notify someone about stuff, and I forgot. That's why they were calling me. So, but yeah, it's screen capture. So I don't know. Hold on, let me remove this for a second. and fuck around with these settings a little bit, see if we can get this working the way it's supposed to. Um, oh, you know what it is? I think I know what the issue is. I think I know what the issue is. Yeah, there it is. It's because I have it in the background. It's not an active window. That's the problem. Okay, well, um, yep. So as long as I keep this as the active window, it should update on the stream and it should show everything as it should. In theory. No, I think I have the bottom cut off. Maybe I've cropped it wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm working. I'm doing my best here right now. So we're gonna work with what we got. Um, but I do think the bottom. Yeah, I had the hold on. I had the cropping going up too much. So there is that. So there is that. So there you go. Well, we'll do what we can. But yeah, there's everybody's talking about the Super Bowl show, and I mean, I've only seen a couple clips and people describing it and talking about it. Of course, the left media is saying, "Oh, it's the best thing since sliced bread. It's the most awesome thing ever." Like, you know, all the stupid bullshit about it because obviously they're not going to admit that GPUSA stream actually blew in terms of performance. Had amazing views, crazy amount of views compared to excuse me, this nonsense from the Super Bowl video clip. Was hoping obvious was the United States. It has the baseball years ago. Because essentially the last time everybody watches football. And they've turned it into some woke garbage shit. You know? Um so it's like it's ridiculous in that sense where they think sorry, I'm opening a drink here. I was inspired by Tards on Deck by Prophet, by the Chugs guy. I got myself some Tahitian treat. I remember seeing one of the videos on there of Tahitian treat, and I was like, I'm curious to try that. And I saw it at this local supermarket here, and I'm like, holy shit, it's Tahitian treat. So I got myself a bottle. Yes, exactly. I'm not chugging it. I'm not chugging it, but I will be sipping on it daintily throughout the stream here. So it's pretty darn good, dude. It's basically Hawaiian punch, but with carbonation. So I dig that. I like Hawaiian Punch, but Hawaiian Punch always felt so like flat. So the carbonation really lights makes it lighter feeling when you're drinking it. Um, and the carbonation actually makes it less sweet tasting, you know, which I don't have a problem with. I like sugar. I like sweet treats. I have a sweet tooth. So, but yeah, um, I'm getting sugared up for the stream. That's for sure. But moving on, or moving back to what I was talking about, I got interrupted. I interrupted myself. Usually, you guys derail me. I derailed myself. So, so, um, this is the thing for me. It's like I don't even care that a halftime show is in Spanish. I don't even care that you have some Puerto Rican or some gay dude or some guy, on there. That's not even the biggest concern for me when I think about Super Bowl, or I think about Super Bowl commercials, or I think about other shit like that. The thing that really comes into my mind when you're talking about football is mass appeal. You want people to perform on there that have mass appeal, that really embodies the spirit of the game, of the celebration that you're doing, of the fact that football is supposed to be like your all American kind of thing. That's not America. It's just not. When you have people who are presenting foreign flags in an American football game, when you have people that won't even say a stitch of English in a performance, it's like it's not America anymore at that point. It just isn't. It's like if I go to I don't know what's it called? Um, oh, my brain is not wired right now. Wired right. A bullfight. That's the word I was looking for. You go to a bullfight. Everything about a bullfight encompasses its history, the Spanish culture, the costume, the arena, the whole shebang, everything. Everything about that screams Spanish culture, right? Would it make sense that in a bullfight you would have someone going out there in Greek traditional costume performing Greek music or Arabic music or Celtic dances? Would it make any sense at all to do that? I would argue no. You know, that would be my argument about this. It's like people want to dismantle quote unquote American culture. They don't want America to have its own identity and its own culture because according to the globalists and according to the left, the communists, there should be no borders. There should be no borders. There should be no. We should be importing everything. Oh, if I don't like immigration, illegal immigration, mind you, I should not be allowed to eat Mexican food. As if all immigration comes from Mexico, by the way. Which is kind of a racist thing to assume to begin with, actually, if you think about it. Or like I'm drinking Tahitian treat. Island stuff. Oh my goodness, even though Tahiti is part of the United States, I am fully aware of that. Okay, I'm not geographically that stupid. Um, I just realized I'm covering my logo with the chat. Hold on, let me bring the chat up a little bit. So Um, I actually can see my logo. My bad. All right. Um, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's like there's this whole disconnect where, oh my goodness, if you try to inject anything outside of country A, culture A into that, oh, it's colonialism, it's evil, it's bad, it's appropriation. But when it comes to the United States, oh, it doesn't matter. We can American culture doesn't really exist. You can just shit all over it, left and right, up and down. It doesn't really matter. I don't agree with that. I really don't. And then it's really funny. It's really funny that now with Bad Bunny and they're talking about America and things like, oh, America is all of the Americas. It's a continent. It's this. It's all different countries. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm like, back up, Sparky. You said there were no borders. You said borders do not a country make. So now you're trying to claim that America, United States of America, is not America because we're part of a continent of different countries. We are North America and South America, so we are just the United States. No, 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 no. We are the United States of America. Okay? We are not just the United States of nothing. We are the United States of America. And then you have other countries in the continent that have their own borders and sovereignty. And have been very, very safe from world conflicts and other issues, thanks to the fact that the United States is the big brother that basically keeps all the bullies away. And I think a lot of countries don't understand that. Or actually, you know what? Let me reframe that. They know it. They know it. Other countries, though, want to play this kind of two-faced kind of thing where it's like, oh yeah, the United States is such a big, big baddie on the world stage, but as soon as there's an inkling of trouble, they all turn to the United States for help. They all want the United States to pay for everything and defend everybody and fight everybody's wars. But we're the great evil. We're the great Satan. You know, we're the colonialists, the colonizers. I mean, we're the colonizers. We're the imperialists. We're Trump wants to be a dictator, and Trump wants to be a king. Yeah, give me a break. I think it's interesting that there are zero military connected people named in the Epstein papers. I haven't gone through all that information deeply. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm not going to do a huge, huge deep dive into that. Steven Crowder did an episode, I think it was today, where he did a complete deep dive into it. So I'm going to defer to him on that one and some other influencers where they did a lot deeper dive. But I will say a few words regarding that. So yeah, going back to the Super Bowl thing. Um, TP USA blew them out of the park. Um, I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. They jumped in there and they actually put together this halftime show really fast. If you think about it, like the turnover time here, the timeline for them to put everything together, put all the talent together and everything, that was like rapid fire. I'm actually impressed with TPUSA that they were able to really pull off a pretty amazing show. So so yeah, I color me impressed when it comes to that. I have to say that. But anyways, there's been a lot of talk. Moving on, there's been a lot of talk about Epstein. Um, like I said, I'm not going to get into a huge timeline and history and all that. I mean, that would require its own separate stream. It would require me to sit down and really kind of get up to speed on everything because it's this has been an ongoing thing for a very very long time. I have talked about Epstein over the years in my streams, and um, it is something that as a someone who's Catholic, let's start from that. As someone who's Catholic, any kind of behavior of this kind from someone like Epstein and people in power, it's abhorrent. I mean, there's no if and or buts about this. This isn't an issue of right versus left or Republicans and Democrats. I've said this before that anything that has to do with exploitation of minors, um, children, and minors, and sex trafficking, and all that kind of stuff. It's just horrifyingly bad. It's just terrible. So the fact that the Democrats are trying to use this as a bludgeoning tool to hurt Trump politically, and Republicans, but mostly Trump, it's just utterly disgusting. Frankly, it's you don't. This is the funny thing. You don't think that these people can go so low, but they do. Oh, of course they're total hypocrites. Absolutely. DoomTube was saying they're total hypocrites like when Pizzagate was a thing. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. Everybody was denying, all the Democrats were denying Pizzagate was a thing. Everybody was denying Podesta's emails, and everybody was denying Clinton even went to the island. Now, everybody's like, oh, the victims, barf, 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 the victims, barf. Yeah, basically, this is what they're doing. They don't care about the victims. They don't care that Epstein was a trafficker and peddled in exploiting minors. Um, they don't care that there was a pedophile ring. They don't care at all. This everything that they are doing right now, and claiming that the right and the Republicans are trying to protect pedophiles, it is all political theater. It's the same tired trope, the same tired methodology of Russia, Russia, Russia. Not then it was COVID, COVID, COVID. Now it's this. And what frustrates me about this whole thing, there's two things that primarily frustrate me about this whole thing. One is that it's the same shit. It's the same play that they're playing. The same script. The same everything. And the Republicans and Trump are responding in the same fucking way that they did with the Russia, 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 and with everything else. And I understand in a way why they're doing that, because the truth will come out eventually and they will look horrible, as they have. They've been losing support, the Democrats, consistently, measurably. Over the years, they have been losing more and more and more support. More people are walking away from the Democrat Party. So it's not boding well for them. Maybe DoomTube. DoomTube is saying Democrats would need to pivot to religion to get support back. I don't think that would help. Um, yeah, Orthodox. I don't know if anything will happen, but you're gonna get me in trouble with YouTube, man. Um, no, but going back to what we were talking about is that even if they even if they tried to go back to religion, because you had, for example, hearings today um, about ICE. I was going to talk a little bit about this too, so this is as good a time as any. You had some people with like these committee hearings, and you had the head of ICE there, like one of the big shots at ICE. I think there is. I don't remember. I was playing around with that at one point, but I don't care. Whatever. I want to get off of YouTube. I'd rather use Rumble anyways. So who gives a shit? But going back to what we were talking about, there was a hearing today with one of the big shots of ICE there, and this one person was asking, like, "Do you consider yourself a Christian?" Her name was LaMonica something, which you already know when you hear a black woman whose name is LaMonica or Lost something or Quishas or whatever. You know you're dealing with high IQ people there. But anyways, she was saying, you consider yourself a Christian? And he's like, oh, yeah. And she's like, well, you think you're going to hell because of what you're doing? Like, you think this is in line with Christianity? So even if they try to bring up religion um, and try to use some sort of religious moral high ground for their arguments, I don't think they're capable. I don't think they're capable of doing it because they don't have any history to stand on. They have no foundation. There's no substance there. These are like, it's like an atheist saying, like criticizing religion. You don't believe it. You don't read it. You don't understand it, and that yet you want to try and criticize religion. Like what the fuck do you even know? Most atheists don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But that's another day. That's another discussion for another day. Um, but going back to the whole hypocrisy thing, yeah, one of the frustrating things about me, for me, I mean, about this whole thing is one, it's the same playbook that's being played, and the right and Trump, they're kind of just doing the same thing that they did before. And like I said, in one way I understand why they're doing that. On the other side, I really wish that they would be far more aggressive in combating this because I don't think that they're being as effective. And we got midterms coming up, and I'm not a doomer in the sense that I don't think everything is falling apart to pieces, even though there's a lot of problems out there. I do see some victories. I see some stuff. So I'm not. I don't consider everything doom and gloom, though I am a realist. I'm not. Um, I'm not an optimist, nor am I a pessimist. A lot of people have always called me a pessimist, even though I'm not a pessimist. I'm just realistic. I'm a realist. Someone talks to me and they say, the glass half empty or half full? I'll just tell them it's at 50% capacity. That's all I can tell you. That's the most accurate description. I don't put a spin on it. So that's just how I feel. But anyways, pivoting back, um, the other thing that frustrates me, and this isn't only with Epstein, but it's with other things too, is you have people in the Republican Party. I mean, you've always had rhinos. There's always been rhinos. That's a given. But it seems like the rhinos that are existing now are of a whole new breed. You know, you have these people that they try to claim some sort of value system that they abide by, that has some sort of principle, like Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, um, Marjorie Taylor Greene too. Like you have these people who claim to be either principled Republicans or full on MAGA, and then they like on a dime, flip on you, and seemingly for the stupidest fucking reasons in the world too. It's like not even flipping on you for a good reason. Like at least give me a good fucking reason for it. They can't even give me a good fucking reason. Oh, she just like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump basically told her to jump in a lake regarding something, and that completely turned her entire worldview around. I'm sorry. If that is the case, you were never MAGA to begin with. You just aren't. If for any reason, one simple disagreement with Trump or one simple disagreement with the executive branch makes your whole worldview collapse in a pile of rubble, you're full of shit. I'm sorry. You're just full of shit. You were never you were never conservative. You were never a Republican. You were never a conservative. You were never MAGA. That's really what it boils down to. And then you have people like Rand Paul and Thomas Massey who claim some sort of moral high ground of principled values, yet never once have they ever voted with Trump. You want to tell me that every single bill that could help conservatives, help people, and help our economy and help our security, you want to tell me every single fucking bill that's out there just somehow magically has some critical principle issue that you just can't budge on. You just can't, oh no, just can't do it. Get your little panties in a twist. But then again, in the case of Thomas Massey is a massive douchemonger. It's ridiculous. The guy is absolutely a douche nozzle. He literally lies to his constituencies and to people, and he's running to CNN now because no conservative network is going to even bother with him at this point. So he's running to CNN all the time, just like Marjorie Taylor Greene running to CNN all the time. Because he knows he's a liar. He claimed he had a list, and now recently he tweeted, I never said I had a list. Well, there's video of him saying it. There's tweets of him saying it. Multiple occasions he said, I have a list, and they won't release it, but I'll release it. And he still won't. He won't do shit because he's a fucking liar. Thomas Massey is a fucking liar, and he needs to be removed from Congress. He needs to be voted out. And there are 51 elected officials in the legislature that are not running again and or retiring. And that is a massive number. So there is a huge opportunity here. Huge opportunity for the Republicans to really get some massive inroads for a majority, even a super majority. They have the opportunity. There's a lot of different reasons why he's bad. That's not the only reason. That's the most recent example that I can give you that he's just a straight up fucking grandstanding liar. He pretty much lies. It's ever since he married this, he got married recently with this woke leftist crazy wife. And apparently he's pussy whipped now. So everything that he does conforms to what the wife wants, it seems. but he has not voted consistently with the right. Uh, well, yeah, I mean that too. His funding, he's like his own constituents, Kentuckians, don't like him. He has like what 4 something% support from Kentuckians, and then all his other support comes from out of state. What the fuck is that? you know, and he's bad because he's a fucking liar, Orthodox. He's a grandstander. Everything he does, he at every opportunity he has been against Trump and the administration. And I don't even fault someone for disagreeing. You know, nah, he's not a stickler on Epstein. He's using Epstein as a grandstanding excuse. He has not done anything productive to help with the Epstein files. He could have done all this arguing under Biden. He didn't. He did not. Yeah, but it's very particular with him when he is arguing principles and he's arguing whatever that he's arguing. Um, no, listen. My problem is if you're going to stand on principle. This is the thing. Um, this is the thing here. Let me phrase this in this way. Politicians are actors. Okay? Everything they do is performance. It's theatrics. It's always has been. And there's no arguments there. So when you say orthodox, everyone is grandstanding. Yes. Okay? I will grant that. But when you grandstand, and on top of that, you stand on a pedestal of I am a principled individual. Well, now you're setting a standard. You're putting yourself on a higher pedestal. So the problem with that is now I'm going to scrutinize you more. I'm going to look at every one of your vote records. I'm going to look at your tweets. I'm going to look and see if what you're saying is actually true. Even if he is the only politician that doesn't take APAC money, it doesn't matter to me if you're not doing anything positive in Congress. I mean, like the SAVE Act. We have the SAVE Act, like that people can vote on right now, so you can actually will secure elections. It will force only American citizens to vote, which is a good thing. It's an absolutely good thing. But this should have been done a long time ago. And he's standing against it. Rand Paul is standing against it. Murkowski is standing against it. Susan Collins is standing against it. The Speaker of the House, not Speaker of the House, I'm sorry, the Senate Majority Leader Thune is on the fence about it. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Ridiculous. The Senate has been an absolute disaster under Thune. Absolute disaster. This guy is a moron. He's an absolute rhino moron. Never should have had Thune as the Senate Majority Leader. I called this from day one. I said, this guy is going to fuck it all up. And he has. He very much has. He's basically letting the Senate Majority the Senate Minority Leader, run the show. He's letting Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries run the fucking show in the Senate. When you have someone like Chuck Schumer, oh, I'm not saying he's incompetent. I'm saying this is intentional. The guy is fucking retard. He is intentionally sabotaging the Trump agenda. That could be possible. That Massey is just pissed off that he's not in the inner circle. Yeah, probably. But when you have someone like Thune, who is literally working against the admin, just like Paul Ryan, just like the other, just like Mitch McConnell. Yeah, and that's exactly what happens, dude. What you're talking about here, where you say, "Ugh, who cares about Epstein?" Yes, you know what? That's the drawback. That's the after effect, the side effect of all this bullshit. When you have people like Massey muddying the waters, when you have the Democrats being absolute pieces of shit over it, and even the victims themselves are being theatrical and performative about it. When you have them going up on a Super Bowl commercial talking about like, oh, we're gonna put together a list and say the names. You could have done that fucking years ago. Why are you spending millions of dollars on a fucking Super Bowl ad? Just fucking do it. Just fucking go release the list. Release the list. Nobody has ever said don't do it. Everybody on the right has said do it. We don't care if it implicates Republicans. We don't care if it implicates Democrats. Just fucking do it. But they'd rather spend a shit ton of money on a Super Bowl commercial to do what? Just perform. This is performance. So I again, as someone who's Catholic, I was for a long time on my stream saying I want these victims to have justice. Glory Knock the Destroyer is on the list. Oh shit. that would be quite the revelation, sir. Man, can you imagine footage of Glornock the Destroyer doing unsavory things? Woo! I don't know. I don't know if my eyes could take that. I don't think my brain could take that. I'd have to gouge my eyes out. Wow. Wow. That's all I can say. Ooh. That's an image that I don't want in my head, dude. That is an image I do not want in my head. Damn you, Doom2, for putting it in there. Damn you, sir. You can't see me, but I am shaking my fist at you. No, it's crazy. This whole thing it's making me lose sympathy for the victims because it's no longer about justice. It's no longer about justice at this point. It's all about political grandstanding. You have people on all sides doing it, and when they had the opportunity, when they had the actual opportunity to enact real justice, they let it all slip away. They let it all slip away. And I don't care who was president during that time. If it was Trump, it was a Biden, it was whoever. It doesn't even matter. The fact that our system of justice did such a poor job with this particular kind of case and this particular type of crime and victims, it's quite the it's quite the indication of how bad our justice system is. You know? And there's a lot of other problems with our justice system, but that one really, it really impugns it. It really does, and it really puts our whole system in very poor light. All the way up to the Department of Justice, all the way up to people like Pam Bondi and Cash Patel. You know, um, it really, really, really makes everybody look bad, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because, like I said, there were opportunities to take the right steps. There were opportunities to do this right, but yeah, that came out with Bannon being connected to Epstein, and they're trying to actually actively like commit lawfare against Trump. There were discussions about that. There's a whole cryptocurrency thing. Bannon is really looking bad in all this. He's one of the guys that's looking really fucking bad. Dershowitz, for example, also Alan Dershowitz is losing his mind trying to defend himself, saying that, oh, I, I had my underwear on during the massages. I had my underwear on. It's ridiculous. See, yeah, and that's what I'm talking about, Ortho. I feel that a lot of these people that were with Trump, they were never really with Trump. When Elon Musk had a feud over the fucking car mandates, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? You're going to tear apart such a powerful partnership over such a stupid thing. It's mind boggling to me, honestly. It really is. Um, I am shocked about that. But anyways, moving on. I really don't want to dwell that much longer on Epstein, to be honest with you, because it's still ongoing. This is the problem also with the Epstein thing, is that so much information is still coming out. People are coming out. Names are coming out. Information is coming out. Documents are coming out. I mean, the fact that Trump's administration actually released 30 million fucking documents about this is actually a pretty damn big deal. Um, Compared to everybody else, Biden didn't do shit. He didn't do nothing. The Biden Department of Justice didn't do nothing. They literally did nothing. And now recently, Trump released these 30 million documents. So that, I mean, that's huge. Well, technically correct, yes, or he didn't do shit, but he did shit himself. That's right. Uh, that is true. That is true, sir. But they recently also, for example, along with the 30 million documents, they're trying to like I think some sort of interview or like question Ghislaine Maxwell about this whole thing, and she pleaded the fifth, of course, because she wants some clemency, she wants a deal. So it's not surprising that she would plead the fifth. I'm like, people are online going, "Oh my gosh, she pleaded the fifth," and I'm like, how are you even fucking surprised? How does that shock you? Like, I don't understand. How is this? Oh my God! Why would she plead the fifth? Yeah, obviously she would plead the fifth. Of course she would. That's the only leverage she has. Yep, Hillary and Bill are supposed to testify at the end of February. They were about to be held in contempt, and now they got their now they conceded. They bent the knee, and now they're going to be testifying. They were trying to change the terms of it, and the Republicans are like, no. No, you're going to testify the way we said you're going to testify, and that's it. So it is pretty comical. So let's see if they actually show up. Um, it would be funny if they didn't. I don't know if it's going to be public. They want it to be public, I believe. And I think the Republicans are saying, no, this is going to be in private, and they're going to get like more information out of them if they can. But again, they could also just plead the fifth, just like Lois Lerner did. This is the problem: is that they can't really compel them to answer questions. They could just plead the fifth. So I'm not exactly sure uh, what they can get from the Clintons at this stage. The other problem is that so much time has passed. Like it's a mess. It's hard to. It's really hard to like um, have a determination of what can really be done at this point. What information can be gathered? What evidence, hard evidence, is there anymore that can be thrown in people's faces and compel them to speak? This is the biggest problem that I see with everything too. It's just so much time has passed, and you have Epstein himself, who is allegedly dead. There's all sorts of stuff. Can the president charge people himself? Not directly, no. No, they don't have. He doesn't have that authority. He can uh, direct the Department of Justice, assign a special counsel to investigate, and direct the Department of Justice to, say, hey, I would like you to act on this, but the Department of Justice ultimately has to make the decision, because the Department of Justice is supposed to be its own independent. Um, yeah, it's Mueller time. I remember that. I remember that. Yes, sir. Um, but yeah, that's the problem. You also have to assign a special counsel, a special prosecutor. You have to assign that in a particular way too. That's how the Democrats also fucked up, because they didn't do it right against Trump. They did it unconstitutionally because they were just so desperate to try and get him. They didn't follow the proper procedures. So yeah, it's pretty hilarious if you think about it. But um, moving on, let's talk about some other stuff. Like the whole Epstein thing has become so muddied and even somewhat boring to me, because, like I said, it's not about justice anymore. Nobody's doing this because they care about the victims. It's all political performance and theatrics and all nonsensical bullshit like that. As long as that's happening, I'm kind of tuning it out until there's some actual more concrete shit that comes out about it. Like right now, I don't care about all these little petty arguments. Um, I don't care about the rhetoric and the bullshit that, frankly, both parties are involved in when it comes to this sort of thing. I care more about concrete evidence and facts. So we should all stop paying taxes until it's resolved. You know, in a way, I don't necessarily disagree. I'm still not happy about a lot of things, and I would want to separate myself until this country gets its act together. But I still haven't found a resolution for that. Like I said on my stream a long time ago that I was planning on giving up my American citizenship. I haven't forgotten that. And I didn't want to pay taxes, and I didn't want to. That's why I wanted to give up my American citizenship, so then I wouldn't be obligated to pay taxes. That's the only way, really, um, to do it without ending up in jail. And until I find No, I don't want to work in the UAE. No, no. As a Catholic, I'd be a second class citizen, and I'm not going to pretend I'm not Catholic. I'm not going to hide who I am, So that would not that would not jive. I don't think. Um, so uh, I don't know. I have not found a resolution for that yet for myself. I've been putting together a couple projects actually to see if they can generate some passive income for me, or semi passive income. Let's put it that way, because for the most part, in all likelihood, I'm still going to have to be quite involved in a couple things. But perhaps um, it could stabilize a few things for me. Let's put it that way. But the other big news item of the day, of the week, if not longer, is Nancy Guthrie. This what is she, 80 something? Like an 80-year-old something lady, mother of a presenter on Good Morning America. Suzanne Guthrie, I believe her name is, or something like that. I can't remember her name. I don't watch TV. I don't watch Good Morning America. Like, nobody even fucking knows who this lady really is. Apparently, allegedly kidnapped. Nobody can find out anything about her. Trump even has gotten involved, mobilizing the FBI and all sorts of crazy stuff, going on with that whole thing. And foul play seems to be afoot because there were traces of blood. Now they were able to pull video off of the ring camera. Um, Good God, there's all sorts of stuff going on with that, and yet nobody knows what happened to this woman. Um, I I don't have a big opinion on this one. It's one of those things where it's like it could be anything. It could be that it's exactly as things are being claimed in the news reports, where this lady was kidnapped or taken from her home. That there's a ransom letter, which doesn't even make sense why the ransom letter would be sent to TMZ and not directly to the daughter and son. I don't know. Like, there's some things about it that are kind of weird. I mean, let's just be truthful about that. There's some things about it that's like, why? I don't what? It's like, why? Why would it be? Why would it be that way? And not, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Um, it's weird. It's weird, is what I'm saying. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm not saying that it's an inside job. I don't know. Um, I'm not going to jump ahead with conspiracies like a lot of people do online. I don't like doing that. A lot of people tend to do that online, and I really feel that in a way it's kind of disrespectful to the kind of suffering that these people are going through. If it then comes out that there are, questionable parts of the story or other issues that come up, then at that point it's perfectly legit to go and start questioning and investigating these things. But until then, I would much rather say, hey, let's, let let the process play out. Let the process play out, and then you can go and start picking apart things and figuring out what's going on. If there are some weirdness, if there are some strange things, um, that would be my argument. And I do hope, like, if everything is as it's reported, I do hope that they find her. I hope that she's safe. I don't wish any ill will on people. I don't wish harm on people. Uh, the irony, though, the irony of this whole thing is that this lady apparently fucking hates Trump. She is not a Trump supporter, and Trump has mobilized the entire FBI and Department of Justice to find this woman. That shows you, that shows you the difference between someone like Trump and someone like this Nancy Guthrie lady that ended up getting kidnapped. and other liberals and other libtards, where they hate Trump so much they can't see beyond their nose. They can't see that while he is a flawed individual, I think ultimately his intentions aren't bad, And I don't think everything that he says and everything that he does is perfect. Lord knows I have criticized him online. I've posted, I've tagged him. I have criticized Trump many a time. But there's also a lot of stuff that I think Trump is doing right. I think he's doing a lot of good things. What? Bro, what? What's going on? What? When was this taken? Let me see if I can put this up on my screen so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Um, Hold on. Let me crop this real quick. That's pretty funny though. So Ortho sent me a photo here of an individual that looks suspiciously like another individual. I'm just saying. Um, Here you go. Who does that look like? Who does that look like to you? Excuse me. I had to sip some fluids here. mm, that's Gabe Newell. Who's Gabe Newell? What platform is that to test if a photo is real or not? Stream is cracking up. What do you mean it's cracking up? Like it's buffering. It's cutting in and out. I'm not seeing. I'm not even seeing a dropped one single dropped frame. So I don't think whatever issue you may be having, it's probably not on my end. Which is oddly enough, you know, oddly enough, not on my end. Well, there you go. It's your fault, Ortho. Euro Truck Driver Simulator. That why the hell are you downloading a Euro Truck Driver Simulator, dude? Oh well, Steam. Yeah, Steam is a hog when it comes to resources. I've noticed that too. Very much so, sir. Very much so. Um, but I think this is a great point of the stream here. We can pause and we can resume some culture that we are bringing to the stream here. Excuse me. Um, where were we when it came to the Epic of Gilgamesh? Let me see. I should have marked this somewhere and I didn't. My bad. I need like a virtual bookmark when I'm reading this shit. Um, let's see. Hmm. Let's see. Where were we? Where were we? You want to drive a truck in Euroland, but drive like an American on the right side of the road. There are virtual bookmark apps, but they cost money. Of course, they cost money. Everything costs money. Everything does. I don't remember where we left off. Do we go through the story of the flood? I don't think we went through the story of the flood. Search for everlasting life. Yeah, we went through the search for everlasting life, if memory serves. I don't think we talked about we read through the story of the flood. So let's resume from there. Excuse me. So, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the story of the flood. You know the city Shuruppak. It stands on the banks of Euphrates. That city grew old, and the gods were old. And the gods that were in it were old. Hold on, everything's getting cut here. Let me see if I can, hold up. There we go. All right, let's start over here. So you know the city of Shuruppak. It stands on the banks of Euphrates. That city grew old, and the gods that were in it were old. There was Anu, lord of the firmament, their father, and warrior Enlil, their counselor, Ninurta, the helper, and Enugi, watcher over canals. And with them also was Ea. In those days the world teemed, the people multiplied, the world bellowed, like a wild bull, and the great god was aroused by the clamor. Enlil heard the clamor, and he said to the gods in council, the uproar of mankind is intolerable, and sleep is no longer possible by reason of the babel. So the gods agreed to exterminate mankind. Enlil did this, but Ea, because of his oath, warned me in a dream. He whispered their words to my house of reeds. Reed house, wall, O wall, hearken, reed house, wall reflect, O man of Shuruppak, son of Ubada Tutu. Tear down your house and build a boat, abandon possessions and look for life, despise worldly goods, and save your soul alive. Tear down your house, I say, and build a boat. Reed house, that's right. These are the measurements of the bark, as you shall build her. Let hex beam equal her length. Let her deck be roofed like the vault that covers the abyss. Then take up into the boat the seed of all living creatures. When I had understood, I said to my Lord, behold, what you have commanded I will honor and perform. But how shall I answer the people, the city, the elders? Then Ea opened his mouth and said to me, his servant, tell them this. I have learned that Enlil is wrathful against me. I dare no longer walk in his land nor live in his city. I will go down to the gulf to dwell with Ea my lord. But on you he will rain down abundance, rare fish and shy wild fowl, a rich harvest tide. In the evening the rider of the storm will bring you wheat in torrents. In the first light of dawn all my household gathered around me. The children bought pitch and the men whatever was necessary. On the fifth day I laid the keel and the ribs. Then I made fast the planking. The ground space was 1 acre. Each side of the deck measured 120 cubits, making it square. I built 6 decks below, 7 in all. I divide them into 9 sections with bulkheads between. I drove in wedges where needed. I saw to the punt poles and laid in supplies. Sorry, I lost my place here for a second. Where am I? Ah, there we go. The carriers brought oil in baskets. I poured pitch into the furnace and asphalt and oil. More oil was consumed in caulking, and more again the master of the boat took into his stores. I slaughtered bullocks for the people, and every day I killed sheep. I gave the shipwrights wine to drink as though it were river water, raw wine and red wine, and oil and white wine. There was feasting then as there is at a time of the New Year's festival. I myself anointed my head. On the 7th day the boat was complete. Then was the launching, full of difficulty. There was shifting of ballast above and below till 2/3 was submerged. What? I said I wasn't sure if real or not, but pretty cool if true. To a guy blindfolded doing Super Mario 64 speedruns, fucking a dozen people replied to complain and bitch about it. A blind guy doing Super Mario 64 speedruns? Huh. That's interesting. Sorry. Speedrun trend is in full effect. The whole speedrun community is weird. I've seen some videos of people talking about speedruns and such and it really I don't know, like some of these people, like some of the stuff that they talk about and how they do these speedruns, it makes me question sometimes like the legitimacy of their speedruns as well. One of those things, you know. But anyways, going back here. Um, I set them on board, for the time that Shamash had ordained was already fulfilled, when he said, "In the evening, when the rider of the storm sends down the destroying rain, enter the boat and batten her down." The time was fulfilled, the evening came, the rider of the storm sent down the rain. I looked out at the water, and it was terrible. So I too boarded the boat and battened her down. All was now complete, the battening and the caulking. So I handed the tiller to Puzur Amuri, the steersman, with the navigation and the care of the whole boat. With the navigation and the care of the whole boat. If you do it in real life, the game will have to update. They can't stop you. I don't know. With the first light of dawn, a black cloud came from the horizon. It thundered within where Adad, lord of the storm, was riding. In front, over hill and plain, Shulat and Hanish, heralds of the storm, led on. Then the gods of the abyss rode up. Nergal pulled out the dams of the nether waters. Ninurta, the warlord, threw down the dice. And the 7 judges of hell, the Anunnaki, raised their torches, lighting the land with their livid flames. Flame. A stupor of despair went up to heaven when the god of the storm turned daylight into darkness, when he smashed the land like a cup. One whole day the tempest raged, gathering fury as it went. It poured over the people like the tides of battle. A imam could not see his brother, nor the people be seen from heaven. Even the gods were terrified at the flood. They fled to the highest heaven, the firmament of On. They crouched against the wall, cowering like curs. Then Ishtar, the sweet-voiced queen of heaven, cried out like a woman in travail. Alas, the days of old are turned to dust because I commanded evil. Why did I command thus evil in the council of all the gods? I commanded wars to destroy the people, but are they not my people? For I brought them forth. Now, like the spawn of fish, they float in the ocean. The great gods of heaven and of hell wept. They covered their mouths. For 6 days and 6 nights the winds blew. Torrent and tempest and flood overwhelmed the world. Tempest and flood raged together like warring hosts. When the seventh day dawned, the storm from the south subsided, and the sea grew calm, and the flood was stilled. I looked at the face of the world, and there was silence. All mankind was turned to clay. The surface of the sea stretched as flat as a rooftop. One opened a hatch, and the light fell on my face. I opened the hatch, and the light fell on my face. Then I bowed low. I sat down, and I wept. The tears streamed down my face, for on every side was the waste of water. I looked for land in vain. But 14 leagues distant, there appeared a mountain, and there the boat grounded. On the mountain of Nisr, the boat held fast. She held fast and did not budge. One day she held, and the second day on the mountain of Nisr she had held fast and did not budge. A third day and a fourth day she held fast on the mountain and did not budge. A fifth day and a sixth day she held fast on the mountain. When the seventh day dawned, I loosed a dove and let her go. She flew away, but finding no resting place, she returned. Then I loosed a swallow, and she flew away, but finding no resting place, she returned. I loosed a raven. She saw that the waters had retreated. She ate, she flew around, she cawed, and she did not come back. Then I threw everything open to the four winds. I made a sacrifice and poured out a libation on the mountaintop. 7 and again 7 cauldrons I set up on their stands. I heaped up wood and cane and cedar and myrtle. When the gods smelled the sweet savor, they gathered like flies over the sacrifice. Then at last Ishtar also came. She lifted her necklace with the jewels of heaven and that once Anu had made to please her. O you gods are here present. By the lapis lazuli round my neck I shall remember these days. As I remember the jewels of my throat. These last days I shall not forget. Let all the gods gather round the sacrifice except Enlil. He shall not approach this offering, for without reflection he brought the flood. He consigned my people to destruction. When Enlil had come, when he saw the boat, he was wrath and swelled with anger at the gods, the host of heaven. Has any of these mortals escaped? Not one was to have survived the destruction. Then the god of wells and canals, Ninurta, opened his mouth and said to the warrior Enlil, Who is there of the gods that can devise without Ea? It is Ea alone who knows all things. Then Ea opened his mouth and spoke to warrior Enlil, Wisest of gods, hero Enlil, how could you so senselessly bring down the flood? Lay upon the sinner his sin. Lay upon the transgressor his transgression. Punish him a little when he breaks loose. Do not drive him too hard, or he perishes. Would that a lion had ravished mankind rather than the flood. Would that a wolf had ravished mankind rather than the flood. Would that famine had wasted the world rather than the flood. Would that pestilence had wasted mankind rather than the flood. It was not that I revealed the secret of the gods. The wise man learned it in a dream. Now take your counsel. What shall be done with it? Then Enlil went up in the boat. He took me by the hand and my wife and made us enter the boat and kneel down on either side. he standing between us. He touched our foreheads to bless us, saying, in time past Utnapishtim was a mortal man. Henceforth he and his wife shall live in the distance at the mouth of the rivers. Thus it was that the gods took me and placed me there to live in the distance at the mouth of the rivers. And that's it for the flood. Now there's the return, the death of Gilgamesh, and that's it, actually. So you know what? Let's go through this. We're almost done, so we can finish this up. All right, I'm gonna refill my fluids here. I'm gonna give you guys an opportunity to do so as well, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Oh yeah. All right, the return. Utnapishtim said, as for you, Gilgamesh, who will assemble the gods for your sake? Exactly, Ortho. So that you may find that life for which you are searching. But if you wish, come and put into the test. Only prevail against sleep for 6 days and 7 nights. But while Gilgamesh sat there resting on his haunches, a mist of sleep like soft wool teased from the fleece drifted over him. And Utnapishtim said to his wife, look at him now, the strong man who would have everlasting life. Even now the mists of sleep are drifting over him. His wife replied, touch the man to wake him, so that he may return to his own land in peace, going back through the gate by which he came. Utnapishtim said to his wife, all men are deceivers. Even you he will attempt to deceive. Therefore bake loaves of bread, each day 1 loaf, and put it beside his head, and make a mark on the wall to number the days he has slept. So she baked loaves of bread, each day 1 loaf, and put it beside his head. And she marked on the wall the days that he slept. And there came a day when the first loaf was hard, the second loaf was like leather, the third was soggy, the crust of the fourth had mold, the fifth was mildewed, the sixth was fresh, and the seventh was still on the embers. Then Utnapishtim touched him, and he woke. Gilgamesh said to Utnapishtim, the faraway, I hardly slept when you touched and roused me. But Utnapishtim said, count these loaves and learn how many days you slept. For your first is hard, your second like leather, your third is soggy, the crust of the fourth has mold, the fifth is mildewed, your sixth is fresh, and your seventh was still over the glowing embers when I touched and woke you. Gilgamesh said, what shall I do, O Utnapishtim? Where shall I go? Already the thief in the night has hold of my limbs. Death inhabits my root. Wherever my foot rests, there I find death. When Utnapishtim spoke to Urshanabi the ferryman, woe to you, Urshanabi! Now and forevermore you have become hateful to this harborage. It is not for you, nor for you are the crossings of the sea. Go now, banished from this shore. But this man before whom you walked, bringing him here, whose body is covered with foulness, and the grace of whose limbs has been spoiled by wild skins. Take him to the washing place. There he shall wash his long hair clean as snow in the water. He shall throw off his skins and let the sea carry them away. And the beauty of his body shall be shown. The fillet on his forehead shall be renewed. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And he shall be given clothes to cover his nakedness, till he reaches his own city and his journey is accomplished. These clothes will show no signs of age. They will wear like a new garment. So Urshanabi took Gilgamesh and led him to the washing place. He washed his long hair as clean as snow in the water. He threw off his skins, which the sea carried away, and showed the beauty of his body. He renewed the fillet on his forehead, and to cover his nakedness gave him clothes which would show no sign of age, but would wear like a new garment, till he reached his own city, and his journey was accomplished. Then Gilgamesh and Ushannabi launched the boat into the water and boarded it, and they made ready to sail away. But the wife of Utnapishtim, the faraway, said to him, Gilgamesh came here wearied out. He is worn out. What will you give him to carry him back to his own country? So Utnapishtim spoke, and Gilgamesh took a pole and brought the boat into the bank. Gilgamesh, you came here a man wearied out. You have worn yourself out. What shall I give you to carry you back to your own country? Gilgamesh, I shall reveal a secret thing. It is a mystery of the gods that I am telling you. There is a plant that grows under the water. It has prickle like a thorn, like a rose. It will wound your hand, but if you succeed in taking it, then your hands will hold that which restores his lost youth to man. When Gilgamesh heard this, he opened the sluices so that a sweet water current might carry him out to the deepest channel. He tied heavy stones to his feet, and then they dragged him down to the waterbed. There he saw the plant growing. Although it pricked him, he took it in his hands. Then he cut the heavy stone from his feet, and the sea carried him and threw him onto the shore. Gilgamesh said to Urshanabi the ferryman, Come here and see this marvelous plant. By its virtue a man may win back all his former strength. I will take it to Uruk of the strong walls. There I will give it to the old men to eat. His name shall be The Old Men Are Young Again. And at last I shall eat it myself, and have back all my lost youth. So Gilgamesh returned to the gate through which he had come. Gilgamesh and Urshanabi went together. They traveled their 20 leagues, and then they broke their fast. After 30 leagues, they stopped for the night. Gilgamesh saw a well of cool water, and he went down and bathed. But deep in the pool there was lying a serpent, and the serpent sensed the sweetness of the flower. It rose out of the water and snatched it away, and immediately it slawed its skin and returned to the well. But then Gilgamesh sat down and wept. The tears ran down his face, and he took the hand of Urshanabi. O Urshanabi, was it for this that I toiled with my hands? Is it for this I have wrung out my heart's blood? For myself I have gained nothing. Not I, but the beast of the earth has joy of it now. Already the stream has carried it 20 leagues back to the channel where I found it. I found a sign, and now I have lost it. Let us leave the boat on the bank and go. After 20 leagues they broke their fast. After 30 leagues they stopped for the night. In 3 days they had walked as much as a journey of a month, and 15 days. When the journey was accomplished, they arrived at the strong-walled city. Gilgamesh spoke to Urshanabi, the ferryman. Urshanabi, climb up to the wall of inspect its foundation terrace, and examine well the brickwork. See if it is not of burnt bricks. And did not the 7 wise men lay these foundations? 1/3 of the whole city, 1/3 is garden, and 1/3 is field, with the precinct of the goddess Ishtar. These parts of the precinct are all This too was the work of Gilgamesh the king. who knew the countries of the world. He was wise. He saw mysteries. He knew secret things. He brought us a tale the days before the flood. He went a long journey, was weary, worn out with labor, and returning engraved on a stone the whole story. The death of Gilgamesh. The destiny was fulfilled, which the father of the gods, Enlil of the mountain, had decreed for Gilgamesh. In nether earth the darkness will show him a light. Of mankind, all that are known, none will leave a monument for generations to come to compare with this. With his, I mean. The heroes, the wise men, like the new moon, have their waxing and waning. Men will say, who has ever ruled with might and with power like him? As in the dark months, the month of shadows, so without him there is no light. O Gilgamesh, this was the meaning of your dream. You were given the kingship, such was your destiny. Everlasting life was not your destiny. Because of this, do not be sad at heart. Do not be grieved or oppressed. He has given you power to bind and to loose, to be the darkness and the light of mankind. He has given unexampled supremacy over people, the victory in battle, from which no fugitive returns, in forays and assaults from which there is no going back. But do not abuse this power. Deal justly with your servants in the palace. Deal justly before the face of the sun. The king has laid himself down and will not rise again. The Lord of Kulab will not rise again. He overcame evil. He will not come again. Though he was strong of arm, he will not rise again. He had wisdom and a comely face. He will not come again. He is gone into the mountain. He will not come again. On the bed of fate he lies. He will not rise again. Front the couch of many colors. He will not come again. The people of the city, great and small, are not silent. They lift up the lament. All men of flesh and blood lift up the lament. Fate has spoken. Like a hooked fish he lies stretched on the bed, like a gazelle that is caught in a noose. Inhuman Namtar is heavy upon him. Namtar that has neither hand nor foot, that drinks no water and eats no meat. For Gilgamesh, son of Ninsun, they weighed out their offerings, his dear wife, his son, his concubine, his musicians, his jester, and all his household, his servants, his stewards, all who lived in the palace weighed out their offerings for Gilgamesh, the son of Ninsun, the heart of Uruk. They weighed out their offerings to Ereshkigal, the queen of death, and to all the gods of the dead. To Namtar, who is fate, they weighed out the offering, bread for Ned the keeper of the gate, bread for Ningizida, the god of the serpent, the lord of the tree of life, for Dumuzi also, the young shepherd, for Enki and Ninki, for Endukuga and Nindukuga, for Enmul and Ninul, all the ancestral gods, forebears of Enlil, a feast for Shulpi, the god of feasting, for Samukan, god of the herds, for thy mother Ninhursag, and the gods of creation in the place of creation. For the host of heaven, priests and priestesses weighed out the offerings of the dead. Gilgamesh, the son of Ninsun, lies in the tomb. At the place of offerings, he weighed the bread offering. At the place of libation, he poured out the wine. In those days, the Lord Gilgamesh departed, the son of Ninsun, the king, peerless, without an equal among men, who did not neglect Enlil, his master. O Gilgamesh, lord of Kulab, great is thy praise. And there it is. That is the Epic of Gilgamesh. There's only a glossary of terms after that, but we have completed that. Yay! It's over. Yep. It's over. Yep. Yes, sir. Oh boy. So going back to um, some things that we could talk about before I wrap up here the stream. I'm not sure if I'm going to go too much longer here. Let me check a few things. I had bookmarked a few posts that I wanted to talk about. So here are a couple things. Someone put together. Um, the wins of the week for Trump. The moldy bread, the hard bread. Yep. Now do H.P. Lovecraft, where he names his cat. Which one is that? That is true. I have to decide what we're gonna read now, since now the Epic of Gilgamesh is over. We're gonna have to go into a new book. Um, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. Maybe H.P. Lovecraft. Maybe we can read some H.P. Lovecraft or some. Oh man, there's a lot of great classic literature that we could read. Jules Verne. Um, Good lord. Even well, I mean, we could still go back to epics of ancient epics like the Iliad, um, the Odyssey, things like that. I would love to reread all those. The Divine Comedy. People who say Genesis are based on Gilgamesh are retarded. Is based on Gilgamesh is retarded. Yeah. I don't think I wouldn't think so. Yeah, yeah, I saw that dude too. I see that you have a lot of different things there, and you can add your own. Like I can add a bunch of stuff myself. So there's a lot I would want to read. Honestly, I mean the Federalist Papers are fascinating stuff. Excuse me. That's one thing. Like I said, classic literature. I'm a sucker for classic literature, but there's a lot of great books that are just all like within the past 100 years that you could read, like The Count of Monte Cristo. Um, oh gosh, what's his name? A lot of Charles Dickens stuff is very fascinating too. Very good. Um, Shoot, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we could get into. I want to. Eventually, the Bible is one of those that I want to read on stream. So maybe, I mean, maybe we could just jump into that. But that's obviously a very long read. It's going to take a lot to go through all of that. Um, so that might be something that I would reserve if I do end up doing regular streams on a regular basis because I would much rather do that episodically, one after the other, instead of doing it so sporadically as I do right now. Certain parts like Leviticus would be painful for chat. Why would that be painful though? I'm not sure I follow. Okay, yeah. Bible construction street. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe some of that clerical stuff could be rather interesting and fascinating. Who knows? I think it's. I mean, the Bible. The way I look at the Bible is I don't know if I've talked about this guy before, Bishop Barron. Um, he is very good at explaining things. He has a very interesting way of describing things that relate to Catholicism, the Catechism of the Catholic Church, Bible, things like that. And one question that was asked of him one time, and he responded in a video, was, how should you read the Bible? Like, should you approach reading the Bible? And he said, well, he says the Bible is a collection of all different books. You know, some of it's history, some of it's prose, some of it's allegory, some of it's musical, some of it's more like, in this case, like you're mentioning, clerical. Repent, friendo, repent. And so you can't just look at the Bible as, let me just read it from start to finish as one book. You have to look at each section, each book that you're reading in a particular light, and it's kind of like going in. He was saying it's kind of like going in a library. You have the fiction section, you have the science, nonfiction, science, reference, history, geography. You have all these different topics of sections in a library. It's like the Bible is kind of like that. So you have to take that kind of approach, that when you're reading one part, you have to. Well, no, I'm not saying there's fiction in the Bible. I'm just saying that you have to read, like how you read Genesis is not necessarily how you're going to read Leviticus or Deuteronomy or the Gospels. You look at it from, you read it in the perspective that you need to read it in. That perspective. And, so that's one thing that I, I I always kind of knew that in the back of my mind, but the way he described it in that video, I was like, yes, that's a very nice, accurate way to describe that. So that's why I always recommend to everybody, if you want to learn more about Catholicism, uh, Bishop Barron and his Word on Fire series is really top-notch stuff. It's really good stuff to look at. Even if you're not interested in religion, it's just very fascinating. It's very educational, that kind of thing. It's kind of like listening to philosophy and just that kind of stuff. So I always recommend people to listen to that stuff, even though I'm a very foul-mouthed streamer. I would say I don't necessarily reflect the Catholicism in my stream because, let's face it, this is an opportunity for me to blow steam, and just get shit off my chest. So I may not use the most flowery of language, but there is some interesting stuff. Like this person here put together a bunch of wins for Wednesday, or this was 6 days ago. So this is what they posted. It's a bloodbath at the Washington Post as one-third of their employees are laid off. Um, all the worst people on the internet spent all day crying about it, and it's wonderful. Yes, if you have not heard, um, the Washington Post just basically had a massive layoff, massive layoff, and everybody's like, "Oh my god," whatever. Uh, I'm sorry, like the Washington Post, not just the Washington Post, but mainstream media in general, but the Washington Post in particular as well. They have just been doing a horrible, horrifying job, just being propaganda. Just like they're not reporting news. They're just an arm of the Democrats to post nonsense. That's all they are. So yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna cry over the fact that one-third of WAPO people got canned. I think the whole organization needs to be shut down. Honestly, the Washington Post died, in my opinion, a long time ago, and I don't really feel that it's doing its job as it should be doing as reporters. So, you know, consequences to actions. President Trump There are some layoffs here and there. Yeah, I've been seeing that here and there. Um, President Trump has an excellent phone call with President Xi and gets commitments from China to buy more stuff from the United States. That's a win. That's definitely a win. The Chinese economy is not doing very well, actually. So the fact that we're getting these sort of commitments and that China is backing off on being jerks about trying to hurt our economy, um, that's definitely a positive. No doubt about that. The U.S. agrees to a critical minerals partnership with the EU and Japan, and another one with Argentina. Um, the these mineral partnerships, I've always found this fascinating now that a lot of people are focusing on these news items of mineral partnerships because I don't think people really realize how critical minerals are to not only our infrastructure, it's all in China. I don't know, maybe they are, but no, there's plenty like in Greenland. That's why there's this whole Greenland thing, and there's this whole thing with Europe and Ukraine. Ukraine has a lot of rare earth stuff, and with all the technology that is being built up now because of AI and EVs and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the whole Antarctic thing is weird to me. Um, Makes me wonder why there's so much secrecy there. And in a way, I mean, I kind of understand why if you want to preserve it, but at the same time, it's like, well, yeah, they have uranium, which for nuclear stuff, whew, that's the go-to, obviously. Uh, the EU caves after their tantrum over Greenland. There's trade deals between the EU and the US is back on track. Evidence suggests that while Ukraine holds potential for various critical minerals, it has no readily mineable, economically viable, or operational rare earth elements mines. While some, like the Azovsky deposit, exist, they are unproven or located in conflict zones. Experts state there is no modern assessment, with data largely relying on 50-year-old Soviet-era studies. Um, I mean, friendo, hey, I, there very well may be a lot of hot air at the end of the day. Like there may not be as much there. The Soviets could have been bullshitting. Um, at the same time, the Soviets were kind of desperate for resources. They were desperate because they were trying to, prop themselves up. Yeah, I mean that's the question. Would it be economical? Would it be something that's worth for us to go into? Um, yeah, and there's also so much corruption there. You're absolutely right, too. So I don't know. That's one of the things that you would have to send exploratory committees. You would have to, try try to do some mining to see if it's viable, and just see, you'd have to actually send some people there to do some work and see if it's worth it, and if it's not, then it's not. That would be the pragmatic approach. Don't go full tilt. Send a small contingency in. Take kind of treat it like a Star Trek mission. Send an away team, assess everything, try and get some samplings, try and get some things rolling to see if it actually is viable. Do some research, then bring it back to the mothership essentially and see what happens. Another thing that happened was that the guy who tried and failed to assassinate President Trump while he was golfing is sentenced to life in prison. So there you go. Uh, The Children's Hospital of Minnesota, Children's of Minnesota, stops chemically castrating children because of President Trump's funding threats. Yes, that is a incredible positive. President Trump slashes hundreds of millions of dollars in climate DEI funding to California. Another epic win right there. Despite the idiotic rapid responders trying to stop them, DHS has arrested over 4,000 illegals in Minnesota since the start of Operation Metro Surge. Um, DHS catches another leaker and refers them for prosecution. And there you go. That is several wins. And that was 6 days ago. Like, I haven't looked and updated myself on what's going on. Um, the whole thing in Minnesota was ridiculous, by the way. Um, so there's a lot actually that I could talk about when it comes to that. So I don't want to get into the weeds too much with that. So I'll say this: um, a lot of people on the left bitch and moan about the deportation policies that we have. Um, First of all, I've never been to Ukraine either. I have no desire to be in Ukraine. It seems like a pretty shitty country, honestly. I don't know if there's anything there of interest to me. Combat socks. How are combat socks different from like your regular socks? Anything special about them? Anything tactical about them? They feel nice though. Well, there you go. I guess that's enough. Putin is a retard. It does amaze me. I will say this: it does amaze me that a country like Russia would have such a hard time just steamrolling over Ukraine. I mean, let's think about this for a moment. Germany just plowed through countries. And Russia is having such an incredibly difficult time. There is that true, yeah. But at the beginning, there wasn't that much support that America was providing, except money. So yeah, American tech definitely has created a huge problem for Russia. But at the same time, it's like our involvement has been somewhat. Um, I mean, I haven't dived deep into the tactical aspect of it and the strategies, but as a layperson, just looking at it from the outside in, it makes me wonder, like, how bad is Russia? And it makes me really realize that the United States, we basically could take over the world. We really could. You know, we have such advanced technology. Um, we America needs aliens to fight. We are too OP. Maybe, maybe. I don't know. I just find it funny that we are so like advanced technologically when it comes to military operations and things like that, and other countries. Basically, no country in the world that I'm aware of could stand up to us. Really, if we wanted to just kick in the door of any country, let's just say we decide we want to take Australia. How are they going to stop us? We have technology, but our real strength is our diversity. Oh yes, Ortho, absolutely. I need a T-shirt that says that now. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, if we just go to Australia and say "fuck it, fuck you, people, it's ours now," can they really do something about it? Well, yes and no, friendo. Right now we do have very low production of munitions and missiles and things like that. That is true. Um, but I do think that if we wanted to really up that production, um, we probably could. I don't know about that, friendo. Yeah, but you don't necessarily need to see. It's a combination of things. You don't necessarily have to depend on chips and such to get the job done. I mean, at a certain point, you can rely on the smart. Well, you do, yes, but I'm saying this is what I'm saying. If you strategize things in a way where you're using a combination of high tech and low tech, you could probably stretch your resources out strategically, and you may be able to recycle, resalvage. There may be ways to compensate for the fact that you may not have all the chips that you need, you know? So that's why I'm saying there may be other ways to work around those shortages, um, or at least buy yourself time to produce more of the resources that you need to put that technology together. Or like I said, use a combination of things. Like look what they did with Maduro. It was a combination of different technologies, and they used a discombobulator and other things like that, where it wasn't all super smart tech. I mean, blowing sound frequencies to people, like making them all goofy in the brain, that doesn't require necessarily a chip, I don't think. But then again, I don't know how this combobulator really works. But that's what I'm talking about. Is like you may be able to do a combination of low tech, high tech, and then just your straight up, you know, traditional warfare to conquer. Um, so I don't know. I think that a combination of things could work if there ever is some kind of conflict of that kind. Havana syndrome. What's Havana syndrome? I'm not sure I follow. The Cuba Sonic attack? Oh, oh, if it was years ago, I'm not going to remember that. I'd have to look into that. I'll look into that later. Because it's the stream is we're gonna have to bring it to a close. I gotta be up at 5 in the fucking morning, so I can't stay up too late. If I didn't have to get up that early, I would stay streaming. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to start bringing the stream to a close. But yeah, I see what you're saying, friendo. No, I agree. I agree that no president should be doing that. Actually, no president should be going around starting conflicts they can't finish. That was the biggest problem that we had with uh, W and all these other warmongering presidents and senators. Like they want to get into fights. Excuse me. They want to get into fights. They want to get into conflicts, and these are they create situations where these conflicts are going to become long and protracted, and that's going to kneecap you no matter what you do. It doesn't matter how much munitions you produce. It doesn't matter how well you do. Um, so I agree with that. Yeah, Trump shouldn't be starting anything, as any other president shouldn't be starting anything. Yes, the Epic of Gargamel. Yes. Genesis was basically refuting Gilgamesh. Yeah, in a way, it was. It was retelling. This is how the world started. This is how God created the world and everything. So I can understand that point of view for sure. Um, yeah. Well, I mean, the Epic of Gilgamesh isn't even like a sacred scripture kind of deal. That's the thing. It's a ancient poem, So it's like just mythology. So yeah, exactly. That didn't happen in reality, of course. But anyways, kids, I think I'm going to bring the stream to a close. I appreciate you. I want to thank everybody for watching. And I don't know what's gonna happen when it comes to future streams. This is the 99th episode, actually. Believe it or not, the next episode will be my 100th episode, and um, I don't know if I'm gonna do anything in particular for it. If I'm gonna do anything crazy, probably not. I don't know. I don't even know when I'm gonna do it because I may have to give up on my current living situation and move. Um, so that may be another huge disruption in everything, which I really would want to avoid, but I don't know if I can. That's exactly how I feel, dude. Every day. I have so much shit that I got to deal with. Not even funny. So thanks for watching the stream, guys. And remember, as always, don't be complacent. Thanks. Have a wonderful night.